All right, so welcome to another video from the chart readers. So we're gonna do the EV sector today. We actually haven't done that since late July, 7/27. So been about a week or two maybe. So I'll obviously review 720 onward. And doesn't really look like we need new lines for Tesla. Maybe I'll add a couple extra, but clearly what we had here should have been enough to at least guide you. Again, this is not financial advice, but if you're using this, hey, why not? I will say that, again, we're going to see some movement because there is some after hours, but nonetheless, like I said, we did this on the 27th, so that was the end of this trading day, right? So I'm sure we were going to talk about this 100, right? We closed just under it. If it opened above, which you see here, generally that should give you a good inkling that we're going to run to the next line, right? A pretty dominant day after we break this line. And again, I hope you do see that, right? It happens again right here. Just as you break lines, they should be relatively significant, right? From there, it definitely cooled off a little bit as it hit this 200, right? Don't get me wrong, a couple things that I do want to call out. A moving average is always going to be hard to break, especially the highest one, right? The 200 is our highest one. The rest are obviously smaller numbers, right? From there, look, I talk about the RSI often. How high was this? This thing was pushing 90, right? It was basically high 80s as of this day. And I always say, you know, it's an 80 to 30 mix, right? So once you're a little too high on the RSI, you're not going to have that momentum that you're going to want to break through, right? You kind of want to be in the 60 range, almost where we're at now, right? Even lower is even better, right? But if we get a good curve up with the green over the red and a good low number, you know, it's a little more likely to break a line than it would be if you're just up here, right? So that's why I do always stress that like 30 to 80 range on the RSI. But what are we looking at right now, right? Again, this drop from the 200 is not something I'm necessarily too worried about, right? That is a pretty natural drop. I'm a little sad to see that we've actually been 3 days in a row under the 8, right? We obviously want to get over the 8 if we're not in it already. But it does look like this 100 is actually a good little saver here, right? So we got stopped exactly on the line, which is good, and then almost kept falling, but it looks like we're bouncing off this 100, right? So my goal would be to get over the 8 and then get over the 200 and then hopefully fly. So let me make a couple lines up here. Excuse me. I'll put one right there. And then I think that'll be a good one right there. And really, I think that should be enough. Again, look, you can probably put something right here or probably even actually right here. That's pretty much in line with the 200, right? So I imagine that's what happened last time when making the video. There's clearly something happening right here, right? You're hitting these 3 greens, but I'm just going to stick with the 200 moving. So that's why there's no line in between. So yeah, Tesla overall, let me just look at the weekly real quick. Again, so what's the weekly at, right? We're clearly struggling to get over this 50, right? If it gets over the 50, I'm sure that'll coincide with getting over the 200 on the daily. And then, you know, we start going up from there. If both lines are difficult, hey, we might come down and hopefully get caught, right? So on the weekly and on the daily, it's kind of the same thing, right? What did the RSI look like on the weekly? You know, it's a better weekly. I will say that it's relatively low. The green is over the red. Again, different time frames, right? If you're willing to hold it for a week, it's going to be a little less movement than in a day, right? So, but yeah, that was a quick review of the top dog, which is Tesla, right? From there, the next one is Mullen, M-U-L-N. So I know I feel like people got a little sad when I made this video. It's funny, I actually got a comment on it because we've talked about Mullen once or twice, and I've never really been wildly bullish on it. This is somewhat of a meme stock too in many ways. I'm going to just zoom out hard, right? This thing went from down here to up here in nothing, right? So it literally went from 50 cents to, let's call it $3, right? And I know it happened again back here where it was literally just hovering at 2 before it just flew to 16, right? So this thing has had the power to do some wild stuff. Nonetheless, look, we made this last video on the 27th. We've clearly we bounced off the 78. So in many ways, you could have played this bounce of the 78 to the 96 because it looks like it almost came just under by a penny if I had to guess, right? It doesn't quite look like... Oh, look, high of the day is 0.96, exactly on the line, right? So there was a play here in this channel if you wanted. But look, nonetheless, long term, for a good couple day swing, I don't like it under the 8. I sincerely don't, right? As good as I do believe my lines are, and you know the possibility of a bounce within a channel is always there, under the 8, just stay away. There's better places to put your money, you know. My opinion, of course, not financial advice, but overall, what are we looking at Mullen? Honestly, nothing spectacular, right? We're still in this channel. I guess there's still another hope that we might bounce up, right? This 0.78 has now saved us 1, 2, I'll call it 3, 4, 5 times, right? So another couple cracks and this might break. And I don't know if I drew any lower lines. Yeah, I did actually. So we might drop almost 20% actually, right? 7 cents down will take us to 70. Another 7 cents down will take us to 63, right? So if you lose 0.78, that could be really bad. Again, I need to get over the 8 before I'm even considering this. RSI is low, but again, green still needs to get over the red. It's not even over the red. And then that MACD is so tight. I'm just going to, yeah, it just looks like red is over green. We're clearly in the negative as well. So yeah, Mullen doesn't look spectacular at all. On the weekly, again, it kind of looks the same, right? Yeah, just it needs to get over 86 cents by Friday. If it doesn't close above 86 cents by Friday, that could be real troublesome. What's this 50% line? 82 cents would, I guess, be okay. That's pretty much where we're sitting right now. Again, that's by Friday, right? That there's 2 days between that. But yeah, Mullen. There's definitely Mullen needs some mean power to help it. Otherwise, there's plenty of other places to look with your money if I had to guess. Okay, so what is happening here? Check out LIDAR. So again, when did we make this video? On the 27th. Yeah, that's the 28th actually. So we made it right here. This was the last day, and clearly the next day opened over our line, which took us over both the 8 and the 20. I love that confirmation. And then look, not only rode the channel, but actually made its way up. And then for whatever reason, there was a nice bounce and actually a break of the 50 today. So doesn't take a lot to see. Look, we haven't been over that red 50 line in a pretty long time, since early June, actually, almost 2 months. Again, RSI doesn't look bad. It's a little high, right? It's almost 70, but again, I could see that going up. Let's see, what was this back here? Oh, okay, let's zoom out. Has this seen? Okay, it's seen a higher, it's seen a good RSI. It's hit 91 before. Interesting. Okay. Nonetheless, what am I looking for, right? Tomorrow, we have to stay above this red line. So that's 265. Definitely need to stay over 265 tomorrow. From there, it'd be even better if we can break 0.73. You know, the RSI is just, it's not low enough for me to be concerned. Again, it wouldn't be too surprising if we came down to this 246 and then maybe made one more attempt. Because look, again, this was the first real attempt in 2 months. It might be enough to break it. I don't know, right? I would want more indicators, and I've talked about that, right? When I move my money around, I'm using the 1, okay? So I do have other indicators that I look at to see, hey, if this thing is viable or not. We're looking at chart readers right now, and by no means is this a bad view, right? You've seen a number of these actually just climb, like I said, right? So I would say, again, at least keep the 50. If not, you know, at least, you know, not at least, because that's more than enough. But yeah, break 273 if we can. Because again, that's at least another 10% gap right there, right? So nothing wrong with riding these 10%ers, I'm telling you. So I'd want a little more info, but it doesn't look bad as long as we can actually confirm we've broken the 50. On the weekly, it is actually pretty good. I do think this line might be a pretty hard line. The 273. I could see it, if it breaks 273 and then we actually get to 301, look at that gap, right? I mean, that's a pretty solid gap with at least only that being in the way. So not too shabby, actually. Keep an eye on LIDAR. Keep an eye on LIDAR. See if the confirmation breaks, and then go from there. EvGo. EvGo. Not the name of this. Oh, man, look at this. Oh, did I not draw any lines on EvGo? Why did I not? Oh, that's embarrassing. I really didn't. Okay. So, EvGo is actually, I mean, obviously looking pretty bullish, right? So, I wonder if I didn't talk about this stock on that day. I thought I did, but nonetheless, it would have happened on the 27th. And I mean, look, it literally, it was the 8, right? It regained the 8 and then just rode the 8 all the way up, right? RSI on the daily is not too low. It looks like the green wants to break it. And I mean, look, we're pretty much at the last moving average, right? So it could be some decent movements for EvGo here, actually. This is clearly an important line right here, and it looks like it broke it today. It'd be good to see some confirmation. I'll put what looks like a bunch of those bottom lines right there, and then that one up here. I guess I'll put one more in between here. I think we'll take this point. One more. There we go. Okay. EvGo, look, if it breaks, if it confirms this 200 break, that does seem pretty bullish, actually. And the weekly, I mean, that weekly looks beautiful. Look at that thing. Nice. That's a pretty good RSI. That's a real nice MACD. RSI is pretty low. And again, we've actually broken the 50. Now, we got to hold it, right? We got to hold it till Friday. And then I would want one more week confirmation because, again, we're on the weekly, right? This is the first one over. But this does look pretty nice. What line is this? Let me just... 1099. 11. A break of 11 could be pretty good as well. That's right here. It's not too far from my 1144, but yeah. EvGo. I feel bad that I didn't draw any lines down here. Let me just draw some lines down here. Again, always as a just in case, right? So, yeah, I'll take that. I think that's a good one. I'll take that. I think that's a good one. And do I take that or that? I'm just going to take that. I think that's the easiest one to take. Okay, so again, a couple steps down, a number of things I could see happening. Number one, I actually could see this continuing, right? Like I said, we're back on the daily. I could see this actually trying to make a break for 1140, right? If it was to come down, I could see it coming maybe as low as 937. It'd be even better if it only came as low as 10, right? And actually got caught by the 200. But yeah, EvGo. I don't know why I didn't make any lines. I do feel bad about that. But yeah, there you go. VLDR is next. Nice. Look at this. Okay, so again, we made our video on the 27th. And then pretty much from there, you can see how this exactly went, right? Once we broke this line, this 104, it literally came up to this line right here, the 122. There was a little bit of a channel right here, right? And again, sometimes the lines are tight. Sometimes there's a gap here. It actually is all for a reason. You know what I mean? So, and again, once it broke this, it actually not only broke that, but actually came to challenge the 100. Where's the 200? The 200's up there. So I obviously have to make a couple lines up here. Again, this does look good. And this was a monster day. Again, I don't know if there was any news or not. 34% in one day is no joke, right? So, but again, you could see this. You could have ridden well before it happened, actually, if you do this visit. But again, this is not financial advice or anything like that. This is just kind of showing you what technical analysis can do. Let me put that one there. And actually, look, it almost hit that right there. Look at that. I'll put that right there. It's probably a penny too high. I'm going to try one more time. All right, and then I'm going to do one more. Basically right there. Yeah, it looks like it hits both of them. Okay, cool. I like that. And then I guess I'll do one more up here. Let's just do, what's our high boy? No, I'll go to this one. Okay. Yeah, again, you can probably put one right there in between those two, but I think this is a pretty good up and down. Yeah, again, hopefully you use this video to get yourself to a pretty nice payday today. So VLDR. And then last up is Solo. Okay, Solo again is starting to truck up. Again, like I said, why was there lines on Solo but not EvGo? Again, sorry, that's actually bugging me. I'm not gonna lie. Nonetheless, yeah, again, we made this video right here on the 27th, and just like most of the others, we're just kind of riding the channels, right? We're coming up to what looks like the start of this next one. We also have the 100, and then there's a nice little gap until the 200, right? So a lot can happen here, actually. Again, RSI looks like it's starting to change, and it's not too bad. I'll draw a couple lines here because, again, there could be some push up. I'll use that because it looked like it hit both of those. Yep. And then I think we'll just use that right there. Yep. That's not bad, actually. I think we're good right there. And then, because, again, the 200's right there. So, again, this EV sector pretty much across the board did really well. Mullen just is unfortunately not there, right? I think Mullen might need to move into the meme stock world instead of like this EV stock. And to a lot of that, look, like Mullen's still a little new, right? So keep that in mind. They just don't have the news as these other guys do. But overall, I hope you're learning and you're seeing the power of these lines.